This is Dominic Armantrout here, doing my 451 backtesting project. I wanted to see if, first of all, the purpose of the backtesting project was for us to come up with a theory and then essentially test our theory, or provide a hypothesis for the theory, and then test our hypothesis to see if it actually is correct by running a regression. So as you see here, I have the S&P 100. I was originally going to use the Dow 30, but I wanted to have more data, more statistical evidence, because as we know, the more things you have to compare, the more accurate we can be. And so I wanted to see if a high return on equity will lead to a high payout ratio, because return on equity, as you would think, would be clearly how we effectively use assets with those shareholders' money. So you would think if we're effectively using that properly to pay them, we would inevitably be paying them in the form of dividends very, very well. They'd be compensated for that. And as we know as well, theoretically, as dividends are paid out, stock prices should decrease. So just in a theory, my hypothesis here is going to be that as we have a higher return on equity, that the payout ratio for those shareholders is as well going to be significantly higher. So the higher the ROE, the higher the payout ratio. So I ran a regression. I used my X value. My independent variable is going to be ROE, since I think that the Y value, which is going to be payout ratio, is dependent upon my ROE. And so I ran the regression. And if you see here with R squared, we can kind of see that since it is extremely, extremely low, that it appears that it does not fit on the line at all. But we don't want to just use that as my only determinant. So we're going to come down here to the coefficient. We see that it has a negative correlation. So that was very interesting. Again, we're seeing that essentially these don't fit together. They don't have a connecting. They're not connected in any way or related at all. Essentially, is what I'm finding here. And then if we come to my T-stat, we know that 1.6 is going to be that standard, and it appears that I'm not even relatively close, as you can see here, to that 1.6. Is negative as well. So it truly appears that they have no correlation at all, which I found very interesting, because you would think that with like I said, you would think a high return on equity would equal a higher payout ratio, but clearly there's something else really, really driving. Maybe management is trying to keep those dividends, I guess, sticky, so we don't upset anybody, because we know in theory we would hate to surprise people. You don't want to surprise people. So I believe that after running this regression, after backtesting my theory, that they have no correlation whatsoever, and I believe that would be, to a managerial standpoint, what managers want to do with those funds and how they want to keep their shareholders happy by paying those dividends and keeping them sticky so they don't surprise anybody for anything at all.